Hello, Professor Ryan Smith here again, introducing you now to the music subsection. So our two textbooks, we'll have two different books that we'll be looking at and some supplementary materials as well. The Listen, 9th edition, is a beautiful book. It covers very briefly some of the major moments and movements and people from the history of music, all the way from the Middle Ages to the present. We'll be reading and doing lots of listening out of this text, and so make sure you have access to that already. The second book is called Sound Stewardship. This is written by Professor Emeritus from Dordt University, Dr. Karen DeMaul. It talks a lot about how we should view and use music as Reformed Christian people. So we'll be engaging with her ideas on this subject, whether to agree or to disagree, hopefully to have some good discussions about the role and place of music in our world. We'll be thinking about music beyond just listening, but also how we use it and how it affects us. There are 4 modules in the music subsection. The first one, we'll get a chance to introduce each other, or a chance to meet each other through kind of an introductions assignment. We'll talk about the language of music, some kind of basic terminology. The first 5 chapters of the Listen book kind of go through the fundamentals of music, pitch, rhythm, tempo, that sort of thing. We'll talk about a Christian way to think about music from Dr. DeMaul's book. We'll introduce you to the arts events attendance assignments where you need to go or stream a music event. We'll have a curated list for you of some events to choose from if you choose to stream something. Otherwise, you can try to find a live event to attend. Those are worth 10% of your overall grade. 45% of the class is the music subsection, 45% is theater, and the final 10% is to go to or to experience a couple of arts events. There's more details on the Canvas page, but keep that in mind as we begin Module 1. During Module 2, we will be talking about early music, looking at some historical things with relation to the development of music, how it was written down from like a single line of music and then developed into a full musical staff and rich, thick harmonies. We'll look at the medieval, Renaissance, Baroque, and classical eras. And just a note on the word classical as it relates to music. Classical music refers to, that sort of formalized music that you hear about. It's an entire genre that runs through all periods of music history, whereas there's also within that a classical period from about 1750 to 1825, somewhere in there. And so just keep those 2 terms in mind, the classical music period and classical music in general, through 2 different meanings kind of for the same word. We'll also look at Dr. DeMaul's book again and think about what is Christian music. Not much music in some of these eras that we talked about that wasn't sacred. A lot of the music in the Renaissance and the Baroque especially was all sacred music intended for worship. It speaks directly about God. A lot of the music from those periods really had a focus on being a believer and having faith in a creator. So some really great discussions we can have about that and how that has changed over time. In the newer eras, there was actually much more secular music happening. Module 3, Romanticism, the 19th century, the development of new ideas, new emotions being expressed through music, the meaning of music, how it kind of fluctuated and changed as the times changed. We'll use Dr. DeMaul's book again to talk about meaning in music as well. In Module 4, that's the 20th century to the present. We'll talk a little bit about modernism as a philosophical concept and its bearing on music and art. We'll also look at what musicians did in response to the traumatic and important events in the 20th century, including the World Wars. We'll wrap up with a discussion of jazz and a few other topics that hopefully you'll enjoy. We'll also be looking at the Confessions of St. Augustine, John Calvin, and once again revisit Dr. DeMaul's book and talk about how we evaluate music and what makes it good and why we like certain kinds of music more than others. There are 3 bigger assignments in the class that I'd like to talk with you about here at the outset. In addition to some readings, quizzes, and smaller assignments, the big things are these. An arts event attendance, 1 for music, 1 for theater, and then 2 others with a shorter response. But the one for music where you need to attend a concert or stream a concert, we'll be asking for a little longer response to that. And so that'll be part of the music subsection. Number 2 is a final exam for the music subsection. That'll be summative and relating to the material from the Listen e-text. And then number 3, the composer encounter essay. You will choose a composer from a list, do some research on that composer, and submit a first and final draft of the essay about that composer. The process for this will officially begin kind of in Module 2 with a Zoom conference in which you and I can discuss your choice of composer, see how things are going for you in the class, and get you pointed in the right direction for that assignment. Really looking forward to meeting all of you over Zoom or with sort of our Flipgrid introductions assignment that's coming up. Music is my passion and my profession, so I'm really excited to be able to share it with you and hopefully teach you a little something about it. Make sure you have your books, as we said before, the e-book and Sound Stewardship. Get those taken care of. The Sound Stewardship book is available through Dorp Press, but you will need to acquire that maybe through the link on the website there to get it ordered for you. So for now, head over to Module 1, and we will see you there.